El Salvador made history over a year ago by becoming the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. However, for 37-year-old Edgardo Acevedo, a resident of the country and a development engineer in the capital city of San Salvador, the nationwide adoption of cryptocurrency has been relatively uneventful. Acevedo stated, "I don't think anything has changed, except that the country is more recognized than before, but the economic life of Salvadorans remains the same or worse than a few years ago." According to Acevedo, who also goes by the pseudonym Ishikawa, the adoption of Bitcoin in El Salvador has been low and there are few businesses that accept it as payment. Additionally, Acevedo noted that there are few Salvadorans who wish to pay in the digital token. He also pointed out that while there has been some improvement in issues of violence and crime, the overall economic situation in the country has not changed. These observations contrast with the grand promises made by President Nayib Bukele about the impact of Bitcoin adoption on the nation. Since the adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender in El Salvador, the currency has lost approximately 60% of its value and the country's economic growth has declined. The country's debt-to-GDP ratio, a measure of a nation's ability to pay off its loans, is projected to reach nearly 87% this year, raising concerns about the country's financial stability. Despite these challenges, the use of Bitcoin in El Salvador appears to be limited. According to data from Bloomberg Economics, El Salvador is ranked as the most vulnerable emerging market country to a debt default. The country's domestic and multilateral loan obligations pose a significant risk, partly because major lenders are hesitant to provide funding to a country that is basing its future on a highly volatile asset. These economic challenges are compounded by the ongoing war on gang violence, leading to a state of uncertainty in the country. Despite the government's positive portrayal of these developments, most local commentators and international observers are underwhelmed, according to Rachel Ziemba, founder of Ziemba Insights. According to recent data, only 1.6% of remittances sent to El Salvador in 2022 were sent via digital wallets. A Deutsche Bank report from September suggests that the low adoption of Bitcoin for remittance transfers may be due to the difficulties of buying and selling Bitcoin for dollars. The report notes that many people who send and receive remittances often rely on informal brokers to convert local currency to and from Bitcoin, and the highly volatile price of the cryptocurrency can make buying and selling it a complicated task requiring technical expertise. But now the tide seems to turn. Despite initial opposition from authorities like the International Monetary Fund and the US, as well as the severe crypto winter, it seems the country of El Salvador, led by President Nayib Bukele, is still committed to Bitcoin. El Salvadoran schools now include crypto education in their curricula as part of their continued effort to promote the adoption of Bitcoin, instructing pupils on topics such as Bitcoin, the Lightning Network, double spending attacks, and more. The price of Bitcoin has decreased by more than 70% from its $70,000 all-time high record attained last year as a result of the failure of the FTX exchange and other unlucky incidents this year. El Salvador has no exposure to Sam Bankman FTX, frauds according to Bukele and his team, but the value of the nation's BTC holding has dropped by 61.75% recently, amounting to an unrealized loss of almost $66 million. The country is unfazed by the depressing market circumstances, and its instructors have indicated plans to teach at least 250,000 Salvadoran students about the leading cryptocurrency by 2023. To establish a legal framework for the public issuing of digital assets, El Salvador last month submitted the Digital Assets Issuance Law legislation. Additionally, the nation has created the National Bitcoin Office, a body tasked with managing efforts relating to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.